You have this Instagram post with an anaconda around your neck. So, I mean, there's a million questions. Maybe you can talk about that experience, but also how did you not die?
So as you know, we've been studying the habits of Eunectes marinus for quite a while. The lowland green anaconda is the largest, heaviest snake on Earth. And I've been practicing a lot for a long time. And this is the biggest one we've ever physically caught. This was just under 20 feet. It was 19 feet something. And you can see she's in the middle of shedding. And the other interesting thing with her is that she had blue eyes because she was in the middle of shedding, and the scale over their eyes turns blue right before it comes off of their head. And so I've never caught a blue-eyed anaconda before, but if you look at the size of my head and the size of my hands, you start to imagine that thing's head is bigger than a Great Dane's. It's huge. And so the power on that, when we tried to lift her to measure her, we wanted to bring her up out of the stream and get her over to the side so we can straighten her out and measure her. And again, we're just trying to take some simple data points and then release her. And at one point, she just decided to flex her body, and you just see 10 people fly this way. And then she flexed in the other way, and 10 people fly this way. And every time that mouth would open, she would just open the mouth and try to, she'd just reach back and she'd just be like, just let me do it. And you know that if she gets purchase, once they get purchase, they wrap you so quick, and they'll crush the life out of you like you're a bag of chips. And if you ever seen a mouse in a mousetrap, when the mousetrap goes down and the eyes come out, and when snakes, anybody that's owned snakes and fed them mice knows this, sometimes if they catch it right, the guts will either come out the back end or the front end. So I'd imagine that the same thing will happen with a snake, it's that big. That's bigger than I am around.
So they have a process when you say purchase it. They want to bite, just to hold, and then they So,
but again, she all she wants is to be let go. To her defense, this massive snake, we named her Millie for the data entry. She just wanted to go on her way down the stream. The comments on this are hysterical. People are, this is the worst example of white people shit I've ever seen. I mean, Snoop Dogg shared it. One guy goes, congratulations, you've touched enough grass. Go back inside.
Yeah, somebody said interesting use of free will. Yeah, and I saw Kill Popper 007 commented, and maybe you can tell me if this is correct. Anacondas are ambush predators. If you approach them, they will usually try to flee and will not register you as food. There's other reasons too. This is in response of how did Paul possibly not die from this? There's other reasons too, but this is the main reason. They're pretty much apex at that size, so their fear isn't as prominent. He was calm, so the snake was calm. It's insane to do and still risky, but he might actually be the most qualified anaconda handler on planet Earth. Paul is one interesting cat hugging emoji. Is that accurate?
Yes. At that size, they're apex. So they're really not thinking about defense. They're just like, get off me.
Yeah.
If I was to hurt her, just like if I was to touch you in the arm with a needle, you'd react. If I was to do anything that hurt her, which I'm not doing, she would turn around and bite me, just say, go away. But they don't want to bite because their recurved teeth make it very difficult to detach. And also they're putting their head then at the source of the danger. It's not a good calculation. And so the giants, and I've had the privilege of interacting with 4 or 5 anacondas in the 20 to 26 foot range, and all of them have been very Leviathan-like, and they don't want to move. They don't want you to. They just want to keep going. And he's 100% right on all of that stuff. I don't know. I've caught 90 something anacondas at this point. Many of them have been massive. Then there's the one that me and JJ didn't get at the floating forest because it was bigger than we could tackle, bigger than my hands. I couldn't touch fingers. But every single one of them has chosen flight over fight. Only the little babies and the smaller males get snappy. They'll come back at you like a normal snake, and just if you grab their tail, they'll try and just bite you and then go. But these big females, they're like dragons. They're like these big legendary things that live in swamps. And the only reason they've gotten that big is because they have a reliable prey source in a secluded place away from humans. And they've been there for decades, just pulling things down to hell and eating them. And, and the other thing, look, I have a team with me.
So there's people holding the...
Yeah. I mean, let's be real here. I would never do this. If I was out in the jungle by myself at night, doing this would be suicide. 100%. Because for every second like there that I'm going, oh, I'm in the water and she's over my neck. Yeah, okay. And if JJ wasn't there to jump in and unwrap her, then I die. 100%.
So she's continuously wrapping.
She's continuously on her back saying, come in here and let me armbar you. Let me squeeze the guts out of you. She's just going, let it happen.
And moving slowly.
Moving really slow with that assurance of power where she doesn't need to try and tap you quick. She's going to get you eventually.
Although, to push back on something you just said, having known you long enough, let's be honest. You're saying I wouldn't be insane enough to do it. Mm-hmm. I think you would be. I mean, there's a line of insanity, and you, my friend, walk that line masterfully so far. So I think there's when you're able to sense the animal, whether it's crocodiles, caiman, or anacondas, and maybe radiate a sense of calm. I've seen you be able to go into some dangerous, from my perspective, situations and make it seem like it's not dangerous at all. And maybe when you become one with the ecosystem, maybe you're not a threat to it, and maybe that's why you can survive. I haven't been able to make sense of it, really.
Look, I would say this. In the case of elephants, if we ever end up in Africa together, I can get incredibly close to elephants because I've spent enough time with them where so far, every time I've been able, it's always been a mock charge. And you can be one with the elephant and learn their language enough that you respect their boundaries, and you also show them that they're not like, if this better be serious, because you're either going to have to kill me or you're going to have to just turn around and go back to eating. And you can have that exchange with them. And with smaller snakes, I'll be careful and whatever else. I can tell you with this that when you have both your hands around an anaconda's neck, I have been known to surprise myself with the decisions I make, but this alone would lead to death, 100%. It's like laying down in front of an 18-wheeler with it in neutral. It's like it's going to roll over you. This is going to turn into anaconda handcuffs with this thickness, and then that is going to wrap you with this thickness, and then 6 more of those are going to go around your body, and you will get squeezed, and you will turn into goop. And she will not, and just like that guy said, she probably is in defense mode and not food mode, so she'll probably just neutralize the threat and then go back to sleep.